So hi, Mr. Kim here, and today I am going to talk in quite a bit of detail about the IB Diploma program, rather the IB Diploma itself that you're going to receive, also the Austrian Matura, and how both of them help you to get into university or not. And also I want to talk a little bit about the importance of having both diplomas, even if you choose to stay in Austria to study. Yeah, so it's gonna be a long and long video. I'm going to do it as always, like I like to do things a little bit with sidetracking and some examples. Yeah, you gotta bear with me. It's gonna be a slightly longer video. So, and I don't even know where I'm supposed to start, but I am often asked by students, well, actually, I do want to stay in Austria to study at an Austrian university. So I'm going to, maybe those students also complete the Austrian Reifeprüfung, the österreichische Reifeprüfung, the Matura, as it used to be called. So I don't really need the IB diploma, do I? Because I can get in also with the Austrian Reifeprüfung. And then there are other students who ask me, well, I'm going to do both diplomas. Will the IB diploma now guarantee me a place at an international university? This is also sometimes a question, okay? After all, I'm investing a lot of energy into the IB diploma, so I of course want to be accepted at a good university somewhere. Is this going to be a guarantee? Yeah. So I would like to talk about all of these things here, and in order to clarify this, I have to start really at the basics and to provide a little bit of background information, otherwise it's kind of difficult to understand. One of the reasons why this might be also difficult to understand is because many people who have grown up in Austria, where we have so-called a free university admission, you call this a freier Universitätszugang, they think that the situation is similar also in other countries, and therefore there are sometimes confusions. And I need to explain this to you a little bit. In Austria, traditionally, it's like this: if you have an Matura, then you are allowed to study pretty much anything at university that you want to. And not only that, you have a right to study this. So that's a very important difference. You've got the Austrian Matura, and then you sign up at a university and they will admit you if you fulfill all of the requirements. Now, in the recent years, they have also introduced in some subjects admission exams, the most famous one being the medicine admission exam. But ultimately, even if you achieve the points there that you need, then you have a right to study at an Austrian university. And this resulted in the following situation, that a lot of students essentially started to study some courses. So there were some very popular subjects, and there were hundreds and hundreds of students there. So I remember when I started to study biology back in the year 1992, then I remember the first lectures. I mean, there were 500 people sitting inside a lecture room. In order to get even a seat, you needed to arrive 1 hour before the start of the lecture, because students were also sitting on the stairs and on the side, and didn't get a seat right at the beginning because the room was too small, and at that time video didn't exist yet, or it was not as commonly available. So there was only one room, and we were happy that the teacher already had a microphone, the professor had a microphone, everyone understood everything. That was not the problem, but it was very crowded. And then what happened is they basically had so-called knockout examinations. So that means the exams were extremely difficult. And therefore, in some exams, I checked the list, sometimes 80 to 90% of the students failed the exams and could not go into the lab, for example, because of that, because the exam was a prerequisite to go into the lab. So what they had is they had so-called internal, we call this like internal admission tests. I mean, you get accepted, right? But it was also very easy to not continue and to drop out again, because you simply did not, or at least lose a semester, because you could not continue, because you did not pass a certain exams. Now I think that's why I'm a little bit not so much against admission exams, because I think it's a little bit fair, because the admission exam is at the very beginning, and if you don't pass the admission exam in medicine, and they're now introducing it also in law and in other subjects as well, well, at least then you know at the very beginning that you're not accepted. But many years ago, I mean, you got accepted, and then you basically ended up spending a whole semester, and then you could not continue. at least some courses, right? So you had to rearrange your timetable a little bit and study something, different courses kind of to make it fit. Yeah, it usually did continue, but you had to kind of fit in other courses so that you did not lose too much time. So in other words, this means that in Austrian universities, it's quite easy to get in, but it's also kind of very easy to get out. Right? And the IB Diploma or the IB Diploma program essentially really increases the chance that you're actually able to stay at university because it prepares you so well for university. So, and most students who are in the IB Diploma program or in the Matura, they just think, well, all I need is I need to get accepted at a university and then basically I'm taken care of. It's not like that. Okay, as I said, it's easy to get into an Austrian university and very easy to drop out. And I read somewhere a statistic that around 75% of the students who are starting a university course in major do not complete it. Yeah, 75%. I know you have to be careful with averages, and it depends on the subject. Yeah, but I hope that you get the point. Okay, so this is basically one important thing and that's something sometimes overlooked very much by students is that the IB Diploma really prepares students very well to study at a university, even if they do not want to go to a different university outside of Austria. Okay, so that is one thing. And the second thing now is that I need to say, and it's also a very common misconception, is people are sometimes doing the Matura and or the IB Diploma, and now they think that because they have a right to study in Austria, they are transferring the same idea to other international universities. They say, well, I want to go to university XYZ in this country. Do they accept the IB Diploma? Then they check online, yes, the IB Diploma is accepted, and now they think that they have a right to study there because they think that it runs the same way like in Austria. But it's not like this, because in international universities, you have an admission procedure. And even though they generally accept the IB Diploma program, this might not be enough, because you have to write admission essays, you have to do an interview, you have to sometimes have the right combination of subjects, and you have to have sometimes also the right number of points. And they will look at you as a complete person, so to say, holistically. That's the correct term to use. Not just, do you have the diploma or not? The Austrian universities, they work like this. Do you have a diploma or don't you have a diploma? And then they don't care if you did well or you didn't do well. Okay? That's an important difference. You have a right. You got the diploma, you got the Matura, so you can study in an Austrian university, even if you've got all fours on the Reifeprüfungs, on the Matura-Zeugnis, okay? Because you've got the Matura. The same with the IB Diploma. You got the IB Diploma, okay? The university will look at this and they will say, okay, it's accepted. At least so far we did not have any problems with the admission, acceptance of the IB Diploma in an Austrian university, okay? So this is the important difference, yeah? And the students now think, okay, I've got now the IB, I've got now the Matura, and I want to go to a certain university somewhere, and now they must accept me because I've got the diplomas, right? It's not like this. It's just like this. If you finish university, you cannot just say, okay, now I've finished university, and now I want to study, work at this company, and you now must accept me as an employee because I finished university. Of course not. You have to apply at a company, and then you have a competition going on, and then the company will decide either for or against you. And it's the same way also with international universities. And what is really important here is the following, is that international universities, especially good international universities, will not only look at the IB points or the Matura grades that you got, but they will also look at the so-called CAS activities that you have done, sports that you have done, how you've been involved socially in your community, and so on, right? They want to get a complete picture. And I'm the master of storytelling and sidetracking. I want to tell you a story, not a made-up one, a real one. Maybe you don't know yet, but I used to go to school in South Korea because my whole family went there because of the job of my father. And at that time, there was a big newspaper report, and my father told to me about this. It was a little bit of a small national affair there in South Korea, is that one of the top students of South Korea applied at a very prestigious elite American university. and was expected to get accepted. He was top student of the country and was not accepted. And my father told this to me, and the rejection letter said something like this: "We congratulate you very much for your excellent results, but you didn't do any CAS activities, as we would say nowadays. You didn't do anything else. You didn't do any sports. You don't play a music instrument. You were not involved creatively. You were not helping out other people. Of course you get good points and good grades if studying is the only thing that you can do." Right? So it was a little bit of a national scandal because in the sense they didn't complain so much about the university not accepting it, but they kind of complained about indeed their own educational system that was only focused on getting the best points. Okay, so it was the newspaper at least was looking at this in a very critical way, or self-critical way. I know this because my father translated this and explained to me the whole thing at that time. Okay, so I just wanted to show this to you as an example. I have got a second example, as a matter of fact. Actually, it happened to a student of our school many years ago. One of the top students was not accepted at a good university in Great Britain, even though she had both the Öst-Austrian Reifeprüfung and also very, very high points in the Matura, in the IB Diploma. And I was surprised, why did she not get accepted? And then I was told by another student, yeah, of course not, because she just went to Great Britain. She flew there for the interview, but she was not very convincing because she already had a place to study in Vienna and was not so convinced about studying in Great Britain. And this kind of came out during the interview, and so she got not accepted, even though she had top points. Okay? So I just want to clarify this to you a little bit, is that just having a diploma, be it the Austrian Matura and or IB diploma alone, for good universities is often not enough. But having both actually demonstrates to the university that you're very motivated, engaged, that you're willing to work hard, and this kind of is like a puzzle pieces. Yeah, and if you're also doing some sports and creativity and CAS activities next to it, then of course this increases your chance even more of being accepted. Okay, but I'm just saying this to show you how the Austrian way of getting accepted into university and how international universities do that is sometimes different. Okay, so this is a really important thing. I just want to tell you a few other examples because some people are saying, but Mr. Kim, I've got a friend of a friend who did not have the IB diploma and was also accepted at a British good university. And I say, of course this is possible. I mean, the Austrian Matura is a national examination after all. And if the student did very well and was also involved in other ways, in the community, in society, creatively and so on, then of course they're going to also look at that. But I also got the information from people who were studying abroad, and they say this, but sometimes people who did not do the IB diploma or did not study at an English-speaking school, even though they were accepted at a good university, English-speaking university somewhere, they sometimes lost a whole year because they simply could not follow the lessons because their English was not good enough, or they were simply not used to writing so many essays and doing all of the university work. And in our school, when you do the IB diploma, we really train you towards essay writing a lot. Okay, so there's a lot of writing which really comes at an advantage, even after you're accepted. Okay, so you see the point that I want to make here is there are the issues quite complex. I want to give you a few examples here, simply to show to you a little bit how difficult sometimes this is to answer this question, because different universities have so different criteria. For example, if you want to study medicine in Great Britain, in many British universities they require chemistry higher level as an IB diploma subject. Okay. They make this as a requirement, and so there is always sometimes the possibility where students say, well, actually maybe I want to study medicine in Great Britain, so I would like to take chemistry higher level. And then they think that only because they've taken chemistry higher level that they're accepted. No, of course not. You have to be very good in it, yeah, and you also have to have all of the other criteria fulfilled. Right? Minimum number of points that you need, again, all of those CAS activities and so on, right? And that's a misconception sometimes. And so sometimes students really transfer a little bit the idea of what they know about the Austrian university admission to international universities and kind of expect the same thing there. Just to show you a little bit how the situation in Germany is very different. In Germany is very different, the university admission to Austria, because in Germany they have a so-called numerus clausus. So what they will look at is they will look at the grades that you get, and they will rank you based on the grades. So if there are a lot of students, you need to have a very good grade. So for example, if you want to study medicine in Germany, I think the cutoff is a grade point average of 1.1 or something like that. Yeah, and I know that some of our students were admitted into Germany, German medical school with a grade of 0.9. Better than 1. And I said, how is this possible? How can you get a grade better than 1? And the reason is because those students have been doing additional work. They worked at the Red Cross, for example, and volunteered there. And they calculated this in as well. And this basically means that they got overall a grade which was better than 1. It's kind of strange. I didn't even notice myself that they're able to do that. But just to show you as well that even at German universities, some of them, they will also take other factors into consideration. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say here is the following, is many students, they say, well, actually, I just want to study in Austria. I just need the Austrian Matura. Yeah, but I tell you what, pretty much a lot of students, maybe almost all of the students, after a few years will have spent some time in a foreign country going on an exchange program somewhere. And if you want to apply to this exchange program, then again, they will look at everything that you have. Yeah? So the point that I'm trying to make is having as many diplomas as possible, doing as well as you possibly can do in the subjects that you've chosen, getting involved also outside of school. All of these are parts that kind of play together to increase your probability of being admitted at an Austrian university. So, and that is really something, not only an Austrian university, in any university, especially international universities. If you want to, for example, study at a Fachhochschule, at an FH in Austria, then they will also look, do an interview, sometimes also admission exams, and they will also look more holistically at your at the applicant, at who you are, and not just on whether you have certain diplomas or not. Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make here is life is complicated. Okay, and sometimes it's not really worth it to kind of plan out everything in detail, because things change and also interests change. You think right now that you really want to study a certain thing and you want to become a doctor. I was always sure that I wanted to become a doctor. My whole life, ever since elementary school, all the way up to when I did my IB diploma, I was always sure I wanted to become a medical doctor. And then once I had my IB diploma in my hands, I decided, no, I do not want to become a doctor. I feel like a scientist, and doctors treat diseases of other people. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in working with other people. This was what I basically said. So I ended up studying microbiology, molecular biology, biochemistry, all of this stuff. Yeah, because I wanted to become a researcher, and I do not want to work with people because I'm not so interested. Well, I ended up becoming a teacher after all, okay? So you see, the things that you plan ahead right now, things change. And I recommend that you keep an open mind, of course. And even though you might be convinced of a certain thing right now, you might change your mind later on, because later on you simply know more, and there are simply also more options available, and you know about more options, and then all of a sudden you become interested in other things, which you simply didn't know about. Okay, so my recommendation is of course you have to think a little bit about who am I. I'm more an artistic type of person, more language type of person, more science type of person. Okay, so that's certainly something you should think about. But the detailed plans of what job you're going to have in the future, I mean, who knows? Okay, it's probably too far away. Even when I finished university, I didn't even know that becoming a teacher is an option, even after I graduated from university. It was that late. Okay, and the more that you have, the more qualifications that you have, the better it is for you. I want to talk about a few other examples, because there's a former student of mine who studied also medicine in Germany, who applied in Germany with the Austrian Matura. because he wanted to have all ones on the Austrian Matura, and that's what he was kind of focusing on. So he neglected the IB diploma a little bit, because he said, I'm going to apply with the Austrian Matura, I'm going to put all my cards on that, just want to get all ones there, right? And he actually got accepted. And later on, he told me that I think it was for an advanced study program that he applied to, there were several candidates that were applying, and he got accepted. And he said, but everyone was completely equally qualified. And he says, there is no difference. But I got accepted. And he says, I think, I'm not sure, but I think it must have been because I also have the IB diploma. Okay, as a second qualification, because it's a second document that you have that you can show how you're different from other people. Okay, so I want to give you a couple of more examples. So, well, over the years, sometimes I have to shake my head as well, because I cannot believe it myself. I just want to give you one example. In one case, a student applied in Great Britain at a university with both the IB diploma and the Austrian Reifeprüfung, the Austrian Matura, and he was not that great. Yeah, somewhere in the middle, right, average. But the university added both points of both diplomas together, so he ended up being accepted because the points of both of them made him, again, a very good student. It was a kind of a very interesting way of calculating the whole thing. It happened once. I'm not saying this is the rule, but this university happened to do it that way. There's another case which some people were a little bit upset about. That is a student who applied for medicine with the IB diploma, because she was an international student. And she had to do the medicine admission examination, the Medizinaufnahmetest, and she actually didn't, apparently what I heard, didn't do that well. There were other students in her same class who actually did better, but because she was an international student and she applied with the IB diploma, she got accepted because there was less competition for the 25% of places that they have reserved for international students. So some people were kind of upset because actually she got lower points on the admission exam but still was accepted into the university. So this is another crazy thing. This happened once, so these are not things that you can count on, but I just wanted to show to you that sometimes things are very difficult to predict. And I simply recommend that you get as many qualifications as you can, just to make sure. Yeah, there were some other interesting cases as well. A former student came out, Mr. Kim, I'm studying now in Great Britain and I didn't need the IB diploma at all. I just got in with the Austrian Matura. Okay, so you don't need the IB. This was basically what I was told. Then I was actually asking a little bit further around. This could quite well be that this student also got accepted not because the IB diploma was worthless, but maybe there was also some kind of a percentage of students that were reserved with non-IB qualifications. This can of course also be the case. Of course, I followed up a little bit more and I asked around, and I indeed was told that even though of course the Austrian Reifeprüfung, Austrian Matura, of course, is formally accepted at the international universities. They're not just going to reject you because of that. They like the IB diploma more because it is more standardized. Okay, but again, it's the whole picture that they're looking at. And if you have the Austrian Reifeprüfung and if everything else is fine, and if you're otherwise a good student and are also involved in other activities, then of course, and if you write a good admission essay, then of course they might also consider you, or they will consider you. I mean, as a matter of fact, a very interesting case was once where a student knocked on the office door and a former student says, Mr. Kim, I would like to pick up my IB diploma now. This was months later after the IB diplomas arrived, and says, okay, fine. I guess you're studying in Austria or something right now, so you applied with the Austrian Matura, Reifeprüfung. No, I'm studying in Great Britain. And so you applied in Great Britain with the Austrian Matura then, right? I said, no, they were not interested. I said, excuse me? You did not show them the IB diploma and you did not show them the Österreichische Matura, the Reifeprüfung. What did they actually want? They just wanted to have a report card that I completed school. So basically the report card of year 12 or class 8. Yeah. And then because I'm studying something artistic, I had to make a video. She was actually studying, I think, musical or dance or something like that. And because of that, I had to make a video of me dancing, and this was a part of the admission procedure. Okay, so what do we learn from this? I mean, essentially getting accepted into university without a Matura and an IB diploma. But what do we learn from this? We learn from this that it is the requirements that the universities have can be very specific. And you have to inform yourself really well of what the different universities and institutes actually need and want. Okay? And then you really have to spend some time preparing all of this material. I mean, if you want to study in Austria, it's pretty straightforward. You've got to get your diploma in. You have to kind of make sure that you pass any admission exams, if there are admission exams, and then you somehow have to survive at university, right? Because there are internal knockout exams as well to further reduce the number of students. Yeah? So I'm just telling you that preparation is really quite important here. And to give you a last example, which has nothing to do with the IB diploma itself, but it's kind of weird what telephone calls I get. A few years ago, I got a telephone call from a student who needed information because this student studied at an Austrian HTL, a technical high school. And basically did the Matura, no IB of course, just a regular student doing a HTL, a technical school in Austria with a Matura, and started to study at a Fachhochschule, also normal, okay, something technical, and then later on decided to change and study medicine in Austria. Okay, so you might think that, well, okay, this person has the Matura, so this person can study provided that he or she passes the admission exam. Okay, the Medizinaufnahmetest, provided that this is passed, the student with the Austrian Matura should be able to study that medicine, right? It wasn't possible. You know why? Because this person didn't have any biology in the report card, because this person went to a technical school. And if you want to study medicine, you need to have medicine or dentistry or veterinary medicine. You need to have somewhere biology on your report card. And this person didn't have it and had to do an extra exam. Also not a big deal, right? You just have to do an extra exam. But I'm just trying to show you here that even within Austria itself, it's not always that easy. Or for example, if you want to study something, sometimes you need Latin. If you don't have that, you have to take extra Latin courses. But again, all of those things, if there are certain subjects that are missing, then you have to catch up on those either while you're studying or before you start to study. Now, for international students who are only doing the IB diploma and who then would like to continue their studies in Austria, there's an additional thing that's really important, and that is the German abilities. Because what they're doing right now in Austria is they're becoming more and more strict with a certain German ability, and it might be necessary that you either catch up on German or that you have somewhere on your IB diploma German written on there as a subject, and then you will be admitted. Yeah? So I'm just saying that sometimes there are many parameters that are needed, and again, I'm repeating myself, you really have to inform yourself well in advance. Yeah, and last but not least, I know this is not going to be the most unpopular thing for me to say, sometimes concerning university admission, there is also maybe a certain element of luck involved. It depends a little bit on who you have, who is currently processing your documents. Depending on that, it can be a little bit unpredictable whether you're being admitted or not. However, I would not rely too much on that and just play, oh my gosh, everything's based on luck, and just play it on good luck and hope for it. But I would really recommend that you well in advance actually start to visit the homepages and the websites of the different universities and really download the things and really get all of the documents that they want ready and really do this properly. Okay, this is a really important thing because after all, you are now really competing for limited places with a lot of other students. And this is really something where you have to, you're not in a position where you can now say, okay, here I am, you got to serve me now, and you got to basically provide now a university admission for me now. No, you cannot say this anymore. It's the other way around. You have to convince them to accept you. And even in cases or in Austria where university admission is quite a bit of only a formality almost, even then you have to work quite a bit once you are accepted to actually stay at university. Okay, so this means that it requires much more independence, and this is as a way of life, so to say, much more independence and self-motivated studying and self-motivated getting your things together. And this is also one of the things where I think that our school prepares you quite well, because we're not serving you everything ready-made on a plate, right? Some people might complain that sometimes school is a little bit chaotic and so on, but I say that's not a bug, it's a feature, as you would say in the IT world. Is because we do not want to run after you and ask you, okay, have you already done the homework and assignment and this and that? So no, we kind of put the responsibility back to you. And this is also, I think, one of the reasons why generally students who've graduated from our school, having gone the IB Diploma program through it, whether or not they actually then are going to study in Austria or abroad, is generally they feel quite well prepared for universities, because we are kind of encouraging this self-directed learning that is also required at university. So this is basically, lots of rambling and storytelling here. So generally, how am I going to summarize this? I'm going to summarize this as follows, is that the IB Diploma helps you in two ways. It helps to get you into university or college, okay? As always, it's not always a guarantee, especially at international universities, because they will look at the whole picture, okay? The IB Diploma is the ticket into an Austrian university and a Fachhochschule, because we have a free university admission in Austria. And once you're accepted at the university, the IB Diploma will help you actually also to stay at university, because we prepare you so well, provided that you also kind of take it serious, okay? I mean, there are some students who don't take it serious, they just barely try to pass. You also don't benefit a lot from the IB Diploma then. Okay, and for the Austrian Reifeprüfung, of course, the Austrian Reifeprüfung will also get you into the university, but if you have it in conjunction with the IB Diploma, this also helps you educationally, because you're well prepared for university, and also opens up more options if you want to study internationally. Yeah, so I hope that this didn't cause now more confusion than I intended. I wish you all the best. You can always contact me if you have any questions. Bye-bye.